Hello beautiful people, it's your girl Prettychoice and you're welcome to my channel. How are you all doing? I hope you all are doing well. So guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about this Asian lady that came out and break silence that black people can be racist. And this is not the only video, there are also other video where people coming out to say black people can be racist, and some white people coming out to say they've experienced racism from black people. For me, I would say I don't really know. For me, like 100%, I don't really know. So I would say maybe in United States, like America, maybe there might be few, few black they can do racist. I don't know. I would say maybe in other African country, I don't really think they can be racist. The only thing I know that we can do is we can be prejudiced. So I don't really know if black people can be racist. I'm not sure. So many people are saying black people can be racist. I don't really know. I'm not sure of it. So I just came across this video, so I decided to share with you, and I want to know your opinion by dropping down your comment below. So I won't review more details. I'm just going to leave you guys to enjoy the show, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Keep watching me, keep supporting your girl. Without further review, I will see you all in my next one. Bye.
Sorry, I can't just yell. I came to this country 5 years ago when I was 15, alone, to a boarding school in Pennsylvania. And what I heard out is, if you don't speak English, go home. If you don't speak English good enough, go home. I don't date Asians, and I'd like to have sex with a girl from all the continents. That's why I want to date you. And while I was walking down the street from my high school to Walgreens, I was walking with 3 of my friends from both China and Taiwan. And suddenly, when we were walking, the green light was on, and when we were crossing the crosswalk, there is a car just rushed through us, driven by an African American, shouting that go back to your home, like go back from where you are from, or gender or anything. Black people can be racist. White people.
Nope, I would have never apologized. If you're black and you're saying that you can't be racist, you are already being racist without even knowing it. I don't understand how people are so blinded by ignorance. So let me get this straight. So a minority is speaking about that we all should be equal. Same thing with another minority saying that we should be equal. But when this Asian girl said that black people can be racist too, that black girl stepped in. Mention the fact that that Asian girl probably has been harassed by black people. Because us as black people, we got to stop with this damn term that we can't be racist. Because we be racist to our own kind. See, this is why I talk about people that have a victim mentality. They can't take accountability for their own shit. And y'all basically just proved it to me in my comment section. This whole racism and having a victim mentality needs to stop. Everybody needs to be looked at as equals. Because at the end of the day, we're all fucking human.
Black people can be racist to white people. And I just want you to know that number one, yes, they can. Number two, I've experienced it. Most Americans in the...
Is Leonardo DiCaprio mad because they can't get oppressed? Because they white? Y'all had a 400-year head start. Whose fault is that? Not ours?
Black people can be racist to white people. And I just want you to know that number one, yes, they can. Number two, I've experienced it. Most Americans in the...
To the white girl, instead of being mad about what you're mad about, you should be more mad at fellow white people that are making people of color feel this angry at us. Like, think about what is actually happening and what's more important. Like, you're making a video saying that black people can be racist to white people. No, they can't. Our ancestors created the concept of racism. They colonized the world. Like, the royal family still is tied to this shit. Like, this is so exhausting with you white people. Like, I can't stand it. Like, I've cut off so many people in my family for this shit because it's just, like, so dumb. Like, you're just mad that certain black people are mean to you. or hateful to you. That's not the same as racism. Like, they're just reacting from what our ancestors caused. And yes, that doesn't make it okay that they're rolling around being mean. Just say that. Like, it's not... And we have to work to change it. Like, our ancestors, and we cannot change the past. Like, that happened. But it is up to us now, or a later generation, to fix it. Like, you get what I'm saying? And the longer that white people just roll around bitching and not wanting to fix the problem that is at hand with our race as we continue to dominate everything with our race. Like, you people are still, like, doing this. You're still racist. You're still, like, allowing other white people to be white supremacists. Like, this is... Why the fuck are you making a TikTok about that? What?
No, black people cannot be and are not racist. Now, we can be prejudiced. We can be discriminatory. We can be cruel, but we cannot be racist. You see, race is an ideology that was created back in the 1600s when the Europeans decided to take to the globe and colonize and conquer. It's a classification system that they use to justify genocide, enslavement, and conversion to their religion. They set the standard as white, and anyone that was darker than the standard was deemed inferior. A racist is one who upholds the ideology of race in order to continue to benefit from white supremacy. Racism is the actual application of a race ideology, you know, where they apply this belief that anything that is darker than white is inferior, and we're treated as such, and it shows up in healthcare, education, public safety, every single walk of life. Racism, the application of that ideology, of the race ideology, is something that only Europeans benefit from. And only Europeans collectively can apply to relegate all of us who are darker than their set standard to a position of inferiority. Now, there is one type of racism that black people can dominate and drive, and that's internalized racism. And internalized racism is what you see here, the belief that we can actually apply cruelty in such a way that it would cause harm to another. We do not have that power. And like I said, we can be cruel. The cruelest thing of all is the thought that we would do this to each other. So this is why black people cannot be racist. And I am asking that we not be cruel to each other. You're welcome.
This comment here is the reason why we need critical race theory taught in our school.
Alright, bro, I'm gonna destroy everything that you said in less than a minute. Critical race theory is the worst thing that you could teach the kids. It's teaching kids how to be racist. Critical race theory is teaching how all black people are victims and how all white people are the oppressors. Systemic racism is not a real thing, it's a myth. A system or a piece of land cannot be racist. If the system was so racist, then how come the most millionaires in America are black? Black people are 2 times more likely to get child support and welfare more than a white person would. Yeah, and the system doesn't like black people, right? White people didn't just create this system. It was also black people also. Yes, corrupted black politicians created this system too. If you don't like white people, dog, just say that. And you said that we could be prejudiced to white people, but we can't be racist to white people because of the system that their ancestors created. Yeah, being prejudiced, right? Okay. Stop promoting hate on your platform, dog. Any race could be racist. Just say you don't like white people. It's not hard to say.
Number one, if you don't know what critical race theory is, just say that, because these conservative speaking points you pushing, they ain't it.
Number 2, I can tell you ain't read much of critical race theory, because if you did, you would know it has little to do with this individualistic focus about people being victims and oppressors, and a lot to do with systems and institutions, which leads me to number 3. Environmental racism doesn't say the land is racist. It says there is policies and practices that make it where people of color are seen as being more exposable and disposable, with having toxic waste and things like that dumped where they live. Number 4, we got some more. You said systemic racism doesn't exist, and then you say that critical race theory is racist towards white people. Which one is it? Number 5, oh, we going live. You say that systemic racism is a myth, but Donald Trump passed the First Step Act, which acknowledged systemic racism, and also was trying to pass the Platinum Plus plan, which acknowledged disparities in things like healthcare and education system, which shows you that systemic racism exists. Number 6, how can you make the claim that black people are the most millionaires in America when studies show that 1 in 7 white families are now millionaires, and for black families it's 1 in 50? You lying, man. Number 7, does he realize when he brings up the welfare state, that's a good example of systemic racism? Number 8, you say you got a beef with victimization, but do you feel that same way when white folks celebrating July 4th and they celebrating being victimized by the red coats and being tarred and feathered and things like that? Or do you feel like it's empowerment? Number 9, the fact that in certain states they just made it legal for me to grow my hair in professional settings, that proves we need critical race theory in the classroom. Because why is that? Number 10, you said something about black people making up a racist system. How many of us helped draft the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence, or how about the Bill of Rights? None of us, huh? So what you talking about? Actually, if you want to learn more about critical race theory, meet me on my YouTube channel, The Consciously, on July 13th at 2 p.m. Central, because it's going down. Education is elevation.
So like I said, y'all, a lot of people in this comment section have been saying I'm racist. But this is what they're not understanding. I'm not saying that white parents can't raise non-white children. Like I've said and like I've been saying, those white people need to be socially aware. Y'all need to stop acting like black people do not have their own experience in this world. And if a white person or white people are going to raise a black child, they need to be aware of that. If they're going to raise any child of color, they need to be aware of that. Stop acting like all you need is love to raise a child of color, because you're minimizing the fact that there's racism and discrimination in this world that they face. That's what I'm talking about. And considering that the woman that got those black embryos implanted inside of her, we can already see by her doing that, she is not socially aware. And also the things that her friends have said definitely give white savior complex. And considering what that white couple did mixed with what people around them are saying, it's not that hard to believe that they feel that same way. But that's my own assumption and opinion. And this is not even just directed at that situation. I'm also talking about white parents that adopt children of color and white people who have kids with people of color. I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but there are a whole subset. There's a whole group of mixed children who have had horrible experiences specifically with their white mothers, because their white mothers went out of their way to have sex with men of color, have kids with men of color, and they're still racist and prejudiced and will discriminate against people of color. Y'all like to ignore the shit like that. And y'all like to not listen and ignore what black people are telling you. A lot of black people are uncomfortable with what that couple did. It's very weird. And I have a fear that that's going to become a trend. Because white women see that it could happen, I have a fear that more of them are going to do that. And somebody even commented, well, how were you raised under this video or something like that, insinuating that I'm mixed. That just shows that y'all are even more ignorant, because I'm not mixed. I'm black. Black comes in all shades. Like I said, a lot of y'all don't listen. You don't listen to black people. You don't listen to black voices. You hear something that you don't like and that you don't understand, and you want to call it racist. But I digress, child.
Can black people be racist? Well, the answer is actually yes, and it's proven, because racism is systematic in the United States. A study was conducted. People were put in front of a computer and told to identify people with weapons. On average, if the person on the screen was black, people were 4 times more likely to identify that person with a weapon, even if they didn't have a weapon. Now here's where it gets weird. Even black individuals, like myself, tend to identify other black individuals as more dangerous and having weapons more frequently. This study had a small margin of error. It was salient. So what does this mean? Does this mean black people are themselves racist? No, it doesn't mean that. It means racism is systematic. It's ingrained in the United States society, and we need to actively combat it. Black people are often vilified and made into the bad guy, to the point where even black individuals like myself, we even internalize the racism. Somewhat similar to internalized homophobia. Gay people that are somewhat homophobic, even though they themselves are gay. It's a societal problem. We all need to work to fix it. I hope this helps.
Black people can't be racist. Yeah, they certainly can be. Unfortunately, I definitely grew up. Baby, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I love you, but black people cannot be racist. We can only be extremely prejudiced.
It is the year of our Lord 2022, and there's still people who say dumb stuff like this. I'm convinced anyone who says this, or you can't be racist to white people, have no understanding of that term.
Black people cannot be racist. Here's why. The word ism means system, yet nowhere in the definition of racism itself does the word system exist. That was on purpose, so we don't acknowledge racism for the larger system that it actually is. Racism cannot be exercised without power, which should also be in all of the definitions. The word race itself was made up by racist white people in the 16th century to categorize and oppress people. That was the only reason it was created, and therefore race is not real, and even more so, individual racism isn't real. White people have created all these different definitions of racism so they can inject themselves and absolve themselves of the responsibility they hold in upholding racism. A hate crime is just that, a hate crime. Sure, it can be racially motivated, but an individual act of hate does not constitute a larger system of oppressing people, and therefore is not racism or racist. The word ist means a follower of a practice or system. Black people cannot follow a system of racism, a word and tool created by white people for the purpose of white supremacy. Even if a white person were to go into an all-black town and be denied jobs or service, that still wouldn't be racism, that would be discrimination. Because that town exists in a larger system where white people still hold the power dynamic. That white person can go anywhere else in the world and exercise their privilege of being in proximity to their whiteness. Whereas everybody in this town who discriminated against this person cannot, they are restricted to this area. Even now that is not happening. When have black people ever been the minority in Africa? When have they ever been marginalized? Never. Yet the entire continent has had huge repercussions from racism, colonialism, and apartheid. South Africa is the perfect example of this. White people in South Africa get paid 3 times more than black South Africans. The 6% white population in Africa owns majority of the businesses. There's a literal whites-only town in Africa right now. Nowhere in the world are black people clearing out white neighborhoods to make their own town. And the same thing is happening in Mexico. So when I say black people cannot be racist, I mean black people cannot be racist anywhere. Because the definition is incorrect and biased by design, and we need to start looking at racism for the larger system that it actually is, instead of the individual acts that it claims to be.
You guys need to go and watch that video because it is the most pick-me foolishness I have seen in a long time. But I'm going to deal with this whole black people are just as racist as white people rubbish because... Anyway, so yes, black people have a lot of internalized prejudice against white people, but given everything that the black community has been put through at the hands of white people, it's really just a byproduct of history. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but how can you blame us when you look at everything that we've been through? And to say that like we're just as racist is really ignoring the fact that white people racism is institutionalized. Black people have never implemented legislation or put in place policies that negatively impact the white community. White people have done that. White people have benefited from that. No, I'm not saying every white person alive is racist. Of course not. But are white people more racist than black people?
So I made this video about a Migos song with a racial slur in it that blew up or whatever, but I keep seeing these comments that say, oh, black people can't be racist, black people can't be racist. It took me a minute to realize like a lot of people were being sarcastic, but I genuinely believe that there are some people out there, or like black people specifically, that believe that we can't be racist. And I've had this conversation with people I consider like very close to me, like, no, we can't be racist. We can be prejudiced. We can be this, that. We can be discriminatory, but we can't be racist. Why? Because we were discriminated against for so long and we're still being discriminated against. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I genuinely have to ask, what is the logic behind this? Because it is not making us look good in front of... Because who do you think the predominant description of the type of person that is leaving these comments is? This shit is blowing my mind. Like, what the fuck? Like, and I understand it's sarcasm, it is, but this dickhead thinks he's being sarcastic while real black people out here think that they can't be racist. Like, it's just, nah, throw it away. But yeah, I believe that anyone can be racist. Any race can be racist. Like, yeah, no. Shut the fuck up, Dawson.
White people. Black people cannot be racist against you. Black people can be prejudiced against white people, and they have every right to be, but they can't be racist against white people because racism relies on an imbalance of systemic power to exist. I had a professor, Jacqueline Lawton, who said it best: racism is prejudice plus power. So yeah, racism against white people doesn't exist because there's no group of people that has systemic power over white people. Ugh, gonna have to find a new argument, huh?
Keep saying it. Keep saying that. That's great. Keep saying it. Just keep saying it. Keep saying it.
Okay, I'm gonna say it exactly how you wrote it. Black people can be racist to white people, clown.